What's up, YouTube? Every year we take about a 3 or 4 week trip out west with a bunch of friends. 2024 was no different. So why don't you hop in and ride along with us as we explore the Four Corners.
We don't need a destination, let's go where the river's taking us.
Mexico.
Welcome to the desert of New Mexico. Here we are in the desert. Hard rain, flash flooding, a little bit of everything. But what would a trip without rain be with Coddiwomple?
It normally takes us a couple days to get across the country over into this area. This one was no different, and we always hit rain, and that's no different either. But by the time we got into the Santa Fe, New Mexico area, the skies had cleared up and we were on dirt road. We found an incredible site overlooking a canyon just outside of Santa Fe. Camp was really easy to set up with the Mission Overland summits. With us on this trip to start with is Teddy and JoJo. They've got their Gladiator and their Mission Overland Summit. And we're also still pulling the Mission Overland Summit from XGRID Campers. Aspen had been great on the trip, but this was the perfect place for him to stretch his legs. It was really great to be able to get to camp before dark and just enjoy the views of this incredible canyon that a lava flow had obviously made. The next morning, we didn't stay in camp long at all. There was a lot of stuff in this part of New Mexico that we wanted to explore. I'm sure we have some movie buffs that are watching, and this town may be familiar to you. If you watch the movie Wild Hogs, this is Madrid, and this is the home of Maggie. In addition to being famous from the movie, it's also famous for being really close to one of the famous turquoise mines in the United States.
Just 3 miles down the road in the Cerritos Hills, we have the oldest prehistoric mines in North America. The Native Americans discovered turquoise out here over 2,000 years ago.
After an incredible history lesson from that wonderful lady there in the store, we decided to take a walk down through the main street of Madrid. So Maggie's Diner is no longer a diner, but it's still open and has all kinds of wild hog souvenirs and paraphernalia. After some Native American history and some movie history, we were back on the dirt and back on the move. But with moving so quick early this morning, it was time for lunch. We made it to Jemez Springs, to this old saloon where we took another step back in time and had some incredible food.
Breakfast at that in the morning, Cowboys or whatever.
As the golden hour started to shed some beautiful light on the canyon, we started making our way up towards the Jemez Mountains. This was exactly the kind of stuff that we were hoping to see when we got to northern New Mexico. While this section was blacktop, this blacktop wasn't going to last for very long, and we were going to be back on the dirt. By the time we made it up into the Jemez Mountains, we found an incredible campsite right up next to the rock cliff, overlooking a beautiful pasture out in front of us.
What? Oh, we'd be hauling back at it, talking. Yeah. It just picked up a bunch of dirt under those trees a minute ago. The most dirt is normal.
What you got, Teddy?
Pork tenderloin, biscuits, and eggs.
And a view from the kitchen.
Nothing like it. Something here last night. Maybe one big night. What?
where we're going to find the historic site of Chaco Canyon, and then we may even make it to the Bisty Badlands. But either way, we're going to have a great day. It was in the 40s this morning, but you can expect it to probably be sunny and in the 90s by the time we hit the desert. We continued our morning through the beautiful pines of the Santa Fe National Forest. The weather was beautiful today. It was a little bit cold in the morning, so you could actually see your breath, but it was warming up pretty quickly. The trails that we were on, some of them were pretty wide Forest Service roads, but others, just like this one, were actually pretty tight.
didn't matter whether the trails were wide or narrow. Either way, the scenery around them were absolutely beautiful. The contrast between the green of the trees and the grass and the red of the dirt was really something to see. Some of the trails that we got on got a little bit rough. Nothing that was too technical, but it was definitely a little bit rougher ride. After leaving the mountains, we set our sights on the Chaco Canyon. We really wanted to check it out because it has a lot of old dwellings on it. The road to Chaco Canyon is really washboarded, and I'm sure that's why there's not a whole lot of people that come out and see this National Historic Park. But I gotta tell you, one of the coolest things that we've ever seen is all of the wild Mustangs that are along this road. The Chaco Canyon is known as the center of an ancient world. Its monumental structures and breathtaking landscape lend itself to the thriving regional center of the ancestral Pueblo people from around 850 to 1250 AD. The Chaco Canyon is a very sacred and deeply personal space for many of the indigenous peoples throughout the Southwest. After taking a breathtaking step back into ancient history, it was time to move on, and our next stop was going to be the Bisty Badlands. This is where we planned to camp for the night. The Bisty Badlands offers a fantasy land of all different kinds of strange rock formations. They're made from sandstone, shale, mudstone, coal, and silt. The weathering of this sandstone creates all kinds of different rock formations, such as hoodoos, pinnacles, spires, cap rocks. All of these different things can be found in this area. It's truly a very unique landscape. We were able to find an incredible campsite tonight with a perfect view of most of the Badlands. Our camp was situated outside of the wilderness area, and a part of the Badlands that we wanted to check out was also outside of the wilderness area. So we decided to take a look from the air. After taking a look from the sky, we knew that we had to get a closer look on foot. That's exactly what we did, right at sunset.
Legs got teeth.
Needs touched me. My legs are itching. Yeah.
Come on, we're going back this way.
Yeah, we'll probably need to look at it and see who's still there since COVID and all that.
The next morning, While the wind had settled down some, it wasn't complete, so Deb had to get creative by fixing windbreaks for her coffee. After breakfast, we packed up and started making our way on in the same direction we had been traveling, and that was northwest. The plan today was to make our way to Four Corners, where we would meet up with Matt and Dawn, who were on their way from North Carolina. Our first significant stop along our route for today was going to be Ship Rock. This is a pretty spectacular place, and you don't really realize it until you get there, just how big and awe-inspiring that the line of rock that makes the wall and Ship Rock itself is. All of this was built from a volcanic fault line, and it's hard to believe that Ship Rock is actually a rock that was the core of a volcano. The Native Americans call it the Winged Rock. Anybody that knows Deb knows that she's always had a thing for horses, and for her to be able to see these wild Mustangs running across the open plains and then crossing back over behind us and running in front of Ship Rock was really something very special for all of us.
They're coming here.
We began our New Mexico adventure with rain and ended it with a dust storm. It's pretty cool to watch all of these tumbleweeds just rolling across the highway. We had made it through the dust storm and through the Navajo Nation part of Arizona. We decided to set up camp in Utah, however. There was a place that I always wanted to camp at, and it was the top of the Moki Dugway at Muley Point. Another reason that we picked this location was it was going to be easy for Justin and Michelle from Misplaced Overland to be able to find us. Once we were at the top of the Moki Dugway, a few miles out of Washboard Road, and we were overlooking the San Juan River and the magnificent Monument Valley. This turned out to be the view and the perfect campsite that I always imagined it would be. There's nothing quite as beautiful and exhilarating as setting up camp right on a cliff. One of the things that makes this site so unique is overlooking the San Juan River. In this part of the San Juan River, it travels 6 miles within a linear 1 mile distance. This is the Gooseneck State Park. After everybody got their camping area set up, it was time to start fixing dinner. Some of us decided to start fixing things other than dinner. Hey, Just.
Hey, what?
What are you doing?
I am putting this new fire pit together. And honestly, I'll be honest, I'm not proficient at it at all because I have never done it. So I'm probably kind of ignorant at it, to be honest. But this thing is awesome once you get it together. So I'll figure it out though.
Is it because you're so distracted by the view to your right?
Well, the view is a little distracting. Yes, I would say for sure. That and I haven't eaten in about 12 hours and dinner's over there cooking.
It's not going to burn, is it?
I don't think so. I think Michelle's watching.
No, Michelle's talking
I
to
see that now.
Michelle's talking to Deb. You know, maybe if you had a light from like Devo's Light Ranger or something,
You know, here's the other thing.
would that help? Justin finally got his new propane fire torch put together. We stayed warm and he didn't starve. As the sky got darker, the temperature cooled down. It turned out to be a really nice evening to sit around and catch up. What you cooking this morning, Tedro?
A little bit of bacon. Have some of the bacon and eggs this morning.
The sunrise over Monument Valley here this morning was even more beautiful than the sunset the night before. After everybody had breakfast, we packed up pretty quick as we would have another long day of travel ahead of us. We couldn't leave without first taking a picture of the group with this incredible backdrop. After the ceremonious picture, everybody hopped in their rigs and it was time to get on the move. Normally we don't plan our trips or our stops. We just kind of let it flow as it goes. But this stop here, we wanted to make sure we got everybody together. The next stop, we wanted to make sure we got there at night so we could camp at the Grand Canyon. This was a bucket list item for a couple of the people in the group, and we really wanted to make it happen. But first, we had to get down the Moki Dugway. Our next stop was going to be the famous place where Forrest Gump decided to stop running. And of course, everybody had to get their pictures taken in the middle of the road.
Okay, what state and city was Forrest Gump filmed sitting on a park bench talking with everyone waiting on the bus? City and state.
I think it was Charleston, South Carolina. Was it Charleston, South Carolina?
I think that's it, though. Where was Forrest Gump from?
Greenbow, Alabama.
Was it your favorite movie?
It's kind of hot for camping, ain't it?
I like that big flat bill hat.
So where are you camping at around here?
Right down at the lake.
I got a 1988 Ford Ranger two-wheel drive. Can I go with you?
Sure.
I don't have a rooftop tent. I got one of them Ozark trails I've had for years. It works good. Are you sure I can go with you?
Yeah, you can go. Come on.
I'll follow you all then.
All right, then.
What channel are you on the CB?
42.
42. All right. I put her on 42 and I'll follow you all.
After picking up some random stranger for the rest of our trip, we made our way out of Page and on west towards the Grand Canyon. It's not every day that folks like us from out east get to see a dust devil like this one. We're a little more used to rain wrap stuff like tornadoes.
Might get out and go stand in that.
Now.
If you pick and sand out of your ears for the next 30 years.
There's no way that you could cross the Navajo Bridge without stopping and taking a walk out on the walk bridge. I gotta tell you, the Colorado River today was clearer and greener than any time we've ever seen it. We made our way past the Vermilion Cliffs, through the Kanab National Forest, and it was now time to hit the Arizona Strip and air down for some washboard roads and 60 miles till we get to our destination. We have made it to our destination just before dark. We would like to have got here a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. We made the best of it and still had plenty of time to sit around and have dinner before it got too late.
What?
After cleaning up after dinner, we all just kind of hung around and enjoyed the perfect weather and the beautiful evening, as we anticipated what we were going to see when daylight came in the morning. This is the second time we've been able to do this. I gotta tell you, there's nothing like being able to wake up on the edge of the Grand Canyon and watch a beautiful sunrise. This was a perfect morning for what was going to be an incredible day. This was such a gorgeous area. Nobody wanted to leave. We set up the Starlink even to catch up on some emails while we had this as an office backdrop. Even after the office work, we still didn't want to leave. We hung out here around the Grand Canyon until it just got too hot, so it was time to move on. Before we left the canyon, we had to stop for one last view.
Just to the right of that, where the big flood-in land is, that's where the south side is. So we're seeing what they see just from a very secluded vantage point. Well, good morning, campers from the largest ditch in the world. We had an awesome night at the Grand Canyon overlooking it, and today we have no agenda. We're going to generally head north and east, making our way back into Utah, but we're going to go just wherever we want to go. We're going to stop wherever we want to stop.
And as far as camp tonight, we're going to find camp just wherever we decide we find a nice place to camp. So, no rush, no agendas. We're going to enjoy the journey until we find another epic campsite.
You may notice the obnoxious squeak on the front of the Gladiator. That is from the sway bar end links on the sway lock. If I didn't lubricate them every day of the heim joints, they squeaked. They're not going to be on there long. The apex disconnects are coming back soon. As we made our way the 60 miles back out from the canyon, everybody was talking about how different and diverse this terrain was. They kept waiting for an elephant or a hippo or some kind of lion to pop out. They felt like they were in Africa.
Deb, I was reading in the comments
After several miles of searching for lions and tigers and, well, giraffes and elephants, we got out onto a little bit wider road and were able to make a little bit better time.
Well, I like that. Glad you found that.
Eating a popsicle?
I am, right in the middle of the desert.
Because it's like 100 degrees out.
Yeah, it was cloudy a little bit ago, so it's cooled down to about 95, but just before that it was 103. So we go out and have lunch. After lunch, we decided to cool off with a fruit pop.
After that delicious fruit pop, we started seeing some hills and mountains off in the distance. The terrain was getting ready to change. We were going to leave the flat Arizona Strip and move on in to a little more different terrain. Our Coddiwompling, if you will, led us in the direction of the Cottonwood Canyon and the Coxcomb Wilderness area. And we decided that that was probably going to end up being the area that we were going to camp in for the night. By this point, we have made it into the Cottonwood Canyon, and it was incredibly beautiful. On the south end, you're greeted with a little bit shorter vegetation than we had seen earlier on the Arizona Strip. The colors were changing also. Everything was going from a brown to much deeper colors of red, and all different colors of red at that. The farther north you go in the canyon, the more things change. You go from just the reds to cream colors and even purples. The colors and scenery in this canyon are beautiful, and it still continued to change. It seemed like every turn that we made. We decided to call this home for the night. We found an awesome place to set up camp for the night. This morning, we were going to hang around camp just a little bit longer. We were waiting on Sherry and Clay to meet up with us to join us for a couple days on the trip. Once we got everybody together, it was time to head north through the incredible Cottonwood Canyon. Deb and I had been through this part one other time, but we had cut off and went up onto one of the plateaus. This was the opportunity to go all the way through the canyon. The Cottonwood Canyon Road is 47 miles of pretty tame road, but what it lacks in technical difficulty definitely makes up in scenic value. It follows along the Coxcomb monocline, which is a geologic uplift and provides you with some incredible colors. As beautiful as the drive was through here, we had to stop and just take a short hike through the Cottonwood Narrows.
It's the prettiest one.
This canyon goes all the way back to where the entrance were before.
Huh. Oh wow, this is cool. What are you doing? Watching everything?
Hi.
This is really cool down here.
That's just like that old boy, remember he visited the Hoover Dam and he put that bubble gum on top of that and everything?
Yeah, blew it.
Let's go for a hike. Yeah, let me get my flip-flops on.
Everybody's got flip-flops on.
I know.
That's my sister.
Nobody brought a tripod, did they?
We'll read something.
Right here's a good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
She looked at me, she starts laughing. And ever since it's this whole running joke of whether or not there's a Baskin Robbins at the end of the trail.
Come on, let me get a picture of you.
Yep. Come on. Enough of this crap.
This is beautiful. Neat. I like this.
Step right up.
Step up.
Oh. Step up.
See if you could.
That's a hat.
Yeah, grab the Teton cup. That's a hat. That's Dutch for hat.
Where we talked on the radio about starting up into that canyon,
Yeah.
and turning around. This is the end of it. As we walked back to the rigs after the hike, somebody noticed a dreadful drip underneath Justin and Michelle's Gladiator. A quick inspection showed that there was oil being pushed into the coolant system, and it was causing an overflow, and that's what was dripping out. So we weren't too far from the end of the Cottonwood Canyon, and there just happened to be a state park at the end of it. So we limped Michelle and Justin to the state park. This was a Sunday, so obviously nothing was open. So we decided that they were just going to hang out at Catacomb State Park until Monday morning, to where they could make some phone calls, get a tow to a Jeep dealership, and get things taken care of. As soon as they got those things taken care of, they were going to be right back on the road and meeting up with us. If somebody has a problem in our group, we normally don't leave them and continue on our route, but they had a really good plan. They were at a state park, weren't going to have any problems there, and didn't seem that they were going to have any problems getting the vehicle out to a dealership or getting it fixed. At least that was the hope. Now, all of that being said, we didn't just take off hours and hours away. We kept today's adventure fairly close to them, and we were within a couple of hours. So if they had any problems, we were going to be able to get back to them pretty easy. We made our way through Bryce Canyon and then up onto the plateau, and eventually finding our way north into the Dixie National Forest. Made our way into the Escalante Mountains and found ourselves up on top of the Table Cliff Plateau. This welcomed us with some incredible views out across the eastern slopes. This would have been a perfect campsite, but being over 10,000 feet, we wanted to try to find something a little bit lower. Only problem was, we weren't done climbing. We were now making our way on up to the Barney Plateau. The ride across the plateau was very scenic and definitely different than what we had started out the morning with. Just like the rest of the day, the trail was not difficult at all. But that was all about to change. Not that it was going to be difficult, but you definitely were going to have to be on your game for the next piece. This was the beginning of our descent off the mountain. We didn't know how narrow this trail was going to be, how rough it was going to get, or anything about it, other than it was a line on a map. This is one of those trails that if you didn't have a trailer wouldn't be a big deal at all, and you just kind of make your way on down it. But it being narrow, not knowing what lies ahead, and having a trailer behind you would definitely give you pause. That's why we like to have groups as big as we do, because if we did have a problem or needed to turn around, then we had plenty of people to help us do it.
Now we're talking, buddy. Yeah, man. Trailer will roll right over that inside rock with no problem.
We made it down that section of the mountain without any problems at all, and you could tell from Matt's expression, this is exactly the kind of stuff we had been looking for and just hadn't found yet very much at all on this trip.
That's what it shows.
After making our way through some of the thickest and largest aspen trees that we've ever seen, we popped out into some meadows like this one right here. This would have been a perfect camp spot, but it still was a little bit over 10,000 feet. And here we come into another one, still over 10,000 feet. We decided, and just like we always do, we try to get down below 8,000 feet to camp. So that was our plan for the evening. campsite that we had found for the night was not the great picturesque campsites that we have found over the last few days, but it was an old homestead, it was flat, and kept us pretty well protected. And that was all that we were needing for the night. The other side of that is we were getting ready to leave public property here shortly, and we wanted to make sure that we could find a good site that was legal. The temperature at this campsite was just about perfect. It was just cool enough to need some long sleeves and a campfire for the evening.
Wait a minute. We're laying down at 6 or 7.
Yeah, but still,
he's not asleep yet.
Yeah, but we're in the bed.
The next morning, we weren't wasting any time at all. We'd woken up to some bad news from Justin and Michelle. We didn't even take time for breakfast. It was time to get on the move. They'd tried every different dealership within at least 100 or 150 miles, and nobody could get to them within a month. They'd even tried some shops there local in St. George, and nobody could touch them for at least a week. And that's when we decided that we had the tools and the mechanical ability amongst the team to go ahead and fix it ourselves. So we turned our travels back south and west through Bryce Canyon and on to St. George. As we were making our way from the mountains, Justin and Michelle were making their way from Catacomb State Park. They got in a tow truck to bring their Gladiator to the shop. We did find a vehicle repair shop that was really close, and we took it over there just to have a final diagnosis made on it. After that, we broke into it and started to repair.
Oh, I gotta ask you ladies, do you guys know any Jeep mechanics at all? Any Jeep mechanics in the house? Do you guys know any of them? He's already standing over there, huh? Teddy's sweating. He got up underneath that thing. He's a Jeep mechanic I ever did see one. He's got enough tools. He can tear this thing down on the trail and put it back together in 24 hours. Can't you? You never know when you're driving an 88 Ford Ranger. I laughed about that, but that's the way it is. Huh? Yeah, that's exactly right.
So the final diagnosis was an oil cooler that had sprung a leak between the oil side and the coolant side. This is not a real easy fix. It takes quite a bit of time. You have to take the upper intake and the lower intake off, and it's kind of right down in the middle of the engine. While we were burning as much energy as we possibly could trying to get this Jeep back on the trail, Aspen and Raven kept trying to burn off their energy too, just out of boredom.
So you can pull it out. I'm not a smart man.
I'm not a smart man.
Huh? What do you have?
1988 Ford Ranger. It's got a new fiberglass topper that protects my tent underneath. And it's got the new Napa shocks.
Now what about
and I upgraded from the 245 to the 285 75 R14s.
And a ride Peterbilt seat.
And it's got a Peterbilt seat in it.
The question is, can you keep up with Bill?
Nobody can keep up with Bill. I was following him when I was tied to him and I couldn't keep up with him.
At 10:30 at night, the Jeep was back on its own power, and we were on our way back to Catacomb State Park. Now that's where Justin and Michelle had left their camper. Deb and I followed them while the others stayed here at Atlas. The next morning, we didn't do a whole lot of videoing. It was kind of just a mental reset morning for all of us after the long day. After we did get moving, it was time to meet up with Matt and Dawn and Teddy and JoJo, who had stayed all night down at Atlas Outdoors.
Look at the goats at the top of the hill on the right.
Oh, cool.
That one's laying down just chilling.
We weren't the only ones up and moving this morning. It seemed like there was a lot of wildlife everywhere.
Well, they got their babies with them. The babies are right here on the side of the hill trying to climb it right now.
They're running.
Up until this point, we've had really good weather, but you can see by the lightning, that wasn't going to last forever. We're going to hit a little bit of rain today. We were on our way into Escalante when I found a place that we had wanted to stop at the day before, just didn't really have time. We wanted to do a little bit of a hike to some pictographs, and this pictograph happened to be the Circle of Friends. And I thought it was just very fitting to at least get a picture of it, given what we have been through over the last few days.
This is an Escalante, Utah rock art. Wonder if there's anything else around this rock.
That's what I was getting ready to walk around and see. Yeah, it's all part of the Circle of Friends.
Are y'all lost?
Yeah, we're lost already. Yeah. I don't remember where we came from. There's so many paths. Looks like it, doesn't it? I tried.
Yeah, I tried to break my leg off. While we were exploring the Circle of Friends, Matt, Don, Teddy, and JoJo were exploring Zion National Park. They were coming in a little different direction than we had and was checking out an area that they had never seen before.
How cool is that?
Freaking amazing.
As the other crew was leaving Zion, we started making our way back into the Dixie National Forest. In addition to GMRS radios, we also use an app called Life 360 to keep track of where everybody's at real time. We made it past the North Creek Reservoir and gained a few thousand feet. We looked on Life 360 and realized that the others was getting pretty close to us. So we started looking here for a good place to pull off and just hang out for a little bit and wait on them. While we sat here and waited, this gave a good opportunity for Justin to pop off a few pictures. By the time Justin had got done with his impromptu photo shoot, the others had caught up with us, and we were all finally back together.
They always ask me, Teddy, what kind of ice cream I like, and it's always Rocky Road.
Man, these views don't suck.
No, they don't.
Town down there.
Joe had an apricot almond combo at lunchtime. She said that was really good too.
As we continued our way around the Forest Service Road, we could start to see the Box Death Hollow coming into view. This road that we're on was originally built by the CCC to connect up the towns of Escalante and Boulder. They had to build a bridge across a narrow spine called Hell's Backbone. Originally it was wood. It's since been rebuilt into concrete and steel. But you can see straight down on both sides. It's pretty incredible.
That was loose. That stuff is about as sandy as it gets.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And it's very sticky if you can get it on a solid part. But again, this is what we have to do with the Coddiwomple Overland. To get the very best shot.
That's right.
But look at what a view we got. Unbelievable. See, this is my jam right here. Up in elevation. Good skills on that deal, but again, my picture, you're gonna be able to hold it still long enough?
Yeah, Michelle, your husband is flat killing me.
Justin, what? Get back here.
Are we just gonna stand
No.
to get my picture?
You got in trouble, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes. I wanted to go up there and stand up there and get my picture, but
No.
they're not letting me do that because
Absolutely not.
one, it's scary. Two, I'm clumsy.
Yes.
So
You hit number 2 right on.
After Justin got in trouble, we decided we probably ought to get off the edge of the cliff and start making our way down the hill. It was time to start looking for camp.
This is to document that it is before 8 o'clock. We are in camp. We're almost always all set up, ready for dinner. It's not 100 degrees in Utah. There actually is cool places to camp.
But we are at 8,000 feet.
And it's going to be hard to breathe. So there'll be a lot less jokes and laughter around the campfire tonight because we're all going to be wheezing.
We're about laughed out after all the 1988 Ford Ranger stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got more. I got plenty more. That's not going to be a problem at all.
All right. Well, we'll keep it going.
So it's dinner time. Let's get some dinner. All right, JoJo, what you cooking over here today?
We're having,
Ooh.
I guess, what would you call it? Chicken quesadillas?
Ooh, a little chicken quesadilla. I like it. That smells good. I can smell it clear over there.
That's why Aspen's been over.
So how do you do that? Do you make your own chicken or you kind of pre-make it before you get here?
Yep, pre-make it.
Makes it easy, right?
Yes, it makes it much easier.
And then you just put her in some tortillas and all the goodies on it, and life is good, huh? Oh, that's awesome. Smells good. What's Teddy doing? Is he doing the dishes?
Buddy, I am relaxing in my new chairs. I got it Atlas Outdoors.
I noticed that you are sitting in something different.
Yes, sir.
So you got something at Atlas today.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. That has got to be the nicest group of people that we meet on the road. I mean, they really are.
So they just opened their doors to us and let us have a run of their shop.
Yeah.
What we needed to do that.
Yeah, 100%. They are so awesome. Yep.
Steve, and Kim, Ricky, thank you all so much.
Yeah, that was amazing. Well, I'll probably I might get a chance to see them at Mountain West when we go out. They go there for Expo. So Michelle and I might have to take them a little gift bag for some thank yous.
They even brought us food.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that maple butter. Oh, Kim, you ruined me. Oh.
That was good, wasn't it?
Oh gosh, it's
I know Michelle and I was talking about that today. I think we went by a place that had the same label today in Escalante. I don't know that it is, but I'll reach out to Kim and find out if that's where it was at, because it was, man, that was
we
good.
need a case of that.
I'll get that on order. All right, Dawn, what you cooking over here?
We got pizza.
You got pizza. How do you make pizza amongst the pines? How does that happen?
Taco shells, your sauce. We got pepperoni, and we got ham, cheese, and onion.
Oh, here's one getting ready to go in, huh?
Yeah, that's the one getting ready to go in.
Man, you got a little red onion. Man, I mean, I don't want to say bougie, but y'all are a little bougie when it comes to this camping thing, huh?
No.
So how close is your oven?
Right there.
Is it getting closer to put? You got one in there?
I put one in there.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, but I want to see.
You see it?
Yeah, let's see that.
It's in the top because you don't want the bottom to burn.
Oh,
It's starting to
my.
melt, see?
Yeah. I bet you could make biscuits and everything in there, couldn't
We
you?
will tomorrow morning.
Oh my! So you're gonna leave the oven set up, and we're gonna make biscuits tomorrow.
Yeah. Biscuits tomorrow.
Man, well, it looks delicious.
With sausage biscuits.
Teddy and JoJo, they're making chicken fajitas tonight, so it smelled really good.
Everything with a wrap.
Yeah, but they travel well, don't they? You know, I mean, that's the problem with bread; it just doesn't travel well. So, yeah, I have a guy that we run around with, and we see a lot, and he uses bagels for his burger, because he said bagels are sturdy. So he said, I cut them in half and toast them up a little bit. He said they're perfect for a hamburger.
I love the English muffins.
Yeah, English muffins are great for breakfast sandwiches and stuff.
Well.
They travel well. Anything sturdy like that's good.
Yeah.
But you can't go wrong with tortillas, and you can find them everywhere.
Right.
Even the gas station sells tortillas.
Right. Absolutely.
What's cooking, Deb?
I don't really know what it's called, but it's shaved beef.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
It's barbecue quesadilla. That's what
So you are, in fact, going to put it on some sort of tortilla.
Yeah, once I get this frozen block done.
So next across the street over here, Don's making tortillas, pizzas, and Teddy and JoJo had chicken fajitas, and you're making some sort of shaved steak fajita.
Yes.
Did y'all buy like 150 tortillas for this trip, or how did that work?
We went to New Mexico, buddy.
Yes, we did.
How many tortillas do we have in count?
You need to get a sponsor. Right there.
Well, it just depends.
If anybody's watching this video and They would like to sponsor us in tortillas.
I like the low carb.
Oh, now she's being picky. Okay, so the low carb is, so, all right.
We went through a whole pack. We've got one.
We have to get more than. Oh, so you get the good ones. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I get.
I stopped getting the other ones.
I'm going to tell you something right now. When you all start making your own tortillas at camp, I'm going to stop camping with you. Because that's extreme camping there. Well, it smells good nonetheless. If I remember correctly, I've had these, right? Like because they do the steak and barbecue and.
Yeah, and diced onions and the cheese.
Yeah, did we have those on the Georgia Adventure Trail?
Yes.
Oh shoot, these are going to be really good.
The night that it rained, but I think every day it rained and never stopped.
The only thing is I took one little small photo of what I cooked tonight, and it was just hamburgers, so it's pretty dull. And I did not put them on a tortilla. Well, so then when he got ready to go back to college, because he said he was going to go do that.
We had one of our best evenings ever at a camp and finished it off with a movie.
There's some left over. I need to use it up.
No, I'm good. Yeah, there's nothing better than.
We took our time around camp and just sat around and relaxed. Had quite a bit of coffee and, of course, breakfast. But then it was time to get moving. Today we'll be leaving the beautiful pines and aspens and losing some elevation, making our way back down to the desert floor. The desert we were going to do today was unlike any other place that I've ever seen before, and it's a place that I always enjoy going to.
You can hear that sucker just rushing on.
The section of trail that we found ourselves in this morning reminded us all of some of the stuff that we found in Wyoming last year. But this was the thickest and biggest aspens that we've ever seen. It was even bigger than the ones that we remembered seeing in Colorado. As we continued to make our way down the trail, it started to lose a little bit of elevation. The trail became narrower and rockier. first trip across here.
Oh, across 12 here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. For a pavement, it's an amazing drive.
It was now early afternoon, and we had made it out to the scenic drive of Highway 12. We'd stopped at Point Lookout to get a view across the east toward the Glen Canyon Recreation Area. It was also cool to see the Henry Mountains off into the distance. Justin was right, Highway 12 is a beautiful drive, and it's not every day you get to see a cattle drive along your drive. We drove several miles along this road and lost about 3,000 feet in elevation, and when we did, the landscape drastically changed. We were coming into Capitol Reef, and Justin and Michelle had been talking up these pies. We just had to stop and get us one each.
I'll do a cherry too. Did you? Michelle, you got it.
No, I just want you to know we've literally drove all the way across the country just for these pies.
Pie, you're lucky. Because usually they're sold out by now. What do you do? It's a lucky day.
Yeah, they knew we were coming.
I didn't know how tart it would be, but I don't really want something super tart.
Usually so. That's so good.
I'm not fixing to leave this pie in front of Michelle.
And don't be ruining the pie. That's good. What do you think, Deb? Flaky crust. You got it.
Is that the stuff?
That is the stuff.
It's so good.
What kind you guys
We drove clear across the country for this pie. It was
Clear across the country for this pie.
It better be good.
It is good.
It is very good.
What do you think, Katie? Pretty good pie.
Well, they were right. If you are ever in an area of Capitol Reef, you've got to go to the historic Gifford House and get a pie. Now, with our bellies full of all different kinds of pie, it was time to go see if we could find some petroglyphs.
That tree is cool.
This group of petroglyphs is just east of the visitor center, and it's really easy to get to. It's right off the highway. Anybody can come and view these.
What do you think they did? Do you think they stood there and made them?
No, it's that much erosion.
I think all the pesticides and everything else everybody uses, we don't see it.
After that delicious pie, checking out some petroglyphs, and riding quite a bit of blacktop for the afternoon, it was time to do something different. It was time to actually hit some water in the desert and find some completely different terrain. One of the coolest things about the desert, anywhere you go, is just the abandoned old relics like this right here that you just find in random places. After taking a look at this old well rig, I really think that we could have got it back up on the road, but it was getting close time for dinner and camp, so we moved on. As we got closer and closer to the Bentonite Hills, the colors started changing in the rocks. It went from a red, which is typically around here, to more of the purples and white hues. This is truly one of the coolest places I have ever been. This is such a cool area. There's no way we could pass up the opportunity to camp here. We found an incredible spot and set up for the night. I'm not one to use the word epic, but it seems like I've used it on this trip quite a bit. This was truly an epic campsite. If there was a downside to this campsite, it did get a little bit windy. Actually got quite a bit windy for a short time. See some serious cooking going on over here. That's why they camped out all the way over here away from everybody, so nobody get their steak. It's a pretty cool campsite. Here in our camp, Deb's got pork chops and kraut. I think we're gonna do some mashed potatoes, but she's got her windbreak all put together. A little windy. The next morning, the sunrise was incredible coming up over the Factory Butte. This would be our direction of travel for the day. We took our time around camp, got a few things done, and then it was time to get on the move. We decided to head east away from Cathedral Valley and make our way along the Caneville Mesa to check out Factory Butte. We made our way across the shortcut from Hartnett Road to Caneville Wash. We couldn't believe how diverse the landscape was. We went from bentonite hills to more of these rounded rocks like this, and then the next thing you know, we got into a huge lava boulder field. It looked like something had literally just exploded and spread all these round lava rocks everywhere. Just when we thought the road was going to level out and be nothing but washboards, just like the rest of Utah, it decided to throw a little change at us. As always, video doesn't do it justice. This was a little bit more steeper than it looks. It was loose, everything was moving around, and there was a rock shelf right there at the top of it. We wanted to make sure that it didn't catch our tongue or anything like that on it when we were coming over, so we made sure and took it really easy.
Bill, come pet driver a little bit. You're almost off the edge. Driver. Okay, now you can straighten out.
drop. Perfect. Nice and slow. We got through that obstacle with no problem at all, and then it was time for Southern Utah to start showing off its scenic beauty again.
All right, folks, it's quiz time. I would like y'all to tell me where you think we are.
Utah.
Well, I mean more specific than Utah, because we've been in Utah for days. Where have we been? Now you can't look at your GPS.
Bill said Mars. We were going to Mars today.
Oh, so we're at Mars today. Okay.
Said
The only Mars I know would melt in this heat.
I am.
Yeah. So nobody knows. Okay, Matt, do you know where you're at?
Probably pretty close to Factory Butte.
Factory. Okay. All right. And Factory Butte is what? Just
A butte.
Okay, but it's there's a big OHV area there. Is that right?
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So Matt's he's pretty close. Teddy, do you know?
No.
Is Matt right? Would you agree with Matt?
I'd say we're pretty close.
Okay.
We've been looking at it
All
since yesterday evening.
Shell, what do you think? Where do you think you're at?
Middle of nowhere.
Do you agree with Matt?
Sure.
Close to Factory Butte? All right, Bill, tell them where they're at.
So we're in Cathedral Valley.
Okay.
So we'll be leaving Cathedral Valley here. We'll be going up this drain, and we will be going to Factory Butte.
Factory Butte. All right. So whoever said Factory Butte is the winner. Ding, ding, ding.
There's toilet paper in our box back there if you need it.
There's what?
Toilet paper in the box back there.
We're doing a potty stop. That's all right. Hey, everybody gets the goes when we're out here. That's the way it is.
So after Justin got finished with his quiz and everybody else made their necessary stops, it was time for us to start our way up the Caneville Reef. This whole area around Factory Butte has always been one of my favorites. We love to come here, and every time we come here, we find something a little bit different. But this time, the crew was starting to get hungry,
and we decided to go into Hanksville and find a restaurant to sit down and eat at. In addition to getting some great meals, it's also an opportunity to give back to the communities that we drive through. After taking care of a few things here, it was time to find our way back onto the dirt. In this area, that's pretty easy to do. You've just got to point your rig a direction and you're going to find it. But the plan for us was to hit a place that we had wanted to do for several different years, just never had an opportunity to do it, and this was the perfect time. We were going to be hitting the Poison Springs Trail. According to our friends at Trails Off-road, this trail is rated a 3 out of 10 and should take you about 5 hours to do. Now what we found, as it looks like they've had some recent rain since any trail maintenance had been done, this trail is going to take us quite a bit more time than just the 5 hours. A good portion of this trail follows a wash. Now you're in and out of the wash, and a lot of times you're just driving up or down the wash. Since being in the wash more times than you're not, especially on the western side of this trail, it's always a good idea to make sure that there's not any rain in the forecast or there hasn't been any rain up the watershed from where you're at. We made sure to check all of this out before we started making our way down this trail.
So right now we're having to back up. We ran on a place on this road that the road's washed out about a 3-foot drop off. So we're having to back up a little bit and hit the left side over here where we can go around it. We can still be done with the trailer. We've got 4 of them that are doing it.
We backed up without any problem and found that there was actually an alternate route. So we took that, didn't have any more issues, but the shadows were starting to grow taller on the walls. We knew that we weren't going to make it completely out of here tonight, so it was time to start looking for camp. We wouldn't find camp before we had to test a couple of the mud holes like this one. We really weren't sure if it had a sandy bottom that you would sink completely out of sight, or it would be something that had a rock bottom to it and wouldn't be any problem at all. We just had to step out into it and see what it done.
Just ease right through it. It's got a bottom. It's fine.
We found a perfect campsite about 10 feet or so up out of the wash in amongst a bunch of cottonwood trees. This was a perfect place for us to get set up with the trailers and just kick back and enjoy the evening.
We're gonna come over here. JoJo's cooking pancakes this morning, and there's been quite a bit of controversy here at camp on how to cook a proper pancake. So she's been elected this morning to do that. So this is her pancakes this morning.
Is there a skillet on him?
And Bill and I would rather have a little more skillet on it, but everybody thinks it's just that little golden brown. They do smell good, so I'll give them that. They smell wonderful, but I don't know. How do they taste? Teddy, how does it taste?
Like a pancake.
Tastes like a pancake. All right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Right.
Fair enough. Deb, are them cooked properly?
Yep.
Yeah?
Perfect.
Spongy? Allows the syrup to melt right in there?
Yep. They're very good.
Okay. Well, if Deb approves, then they must have been cooked correctly.
Between yesterday and today, we had now been on this trail for about 5.5 hours. We were only about at the 15-mile mark where you cross over the scenic ridge and look down at the river. Trails Off-Road says the Dirty Devil River is very rarely too deep to cross. It was not hardly existent at all when we passed, but it's always a good idea to check the river gauge just to make sure that it's not too deep for you to cross. This would certainly be a long way in just to have to turn around because you didn't know how deep the water was. After you climb your way out of the river basin, you're going to make your way about halfway up the plateau, and you're going to find yourself right on the edge of the cliff face. While the views down in the canyon were incredible, this gives you a whole new perspective, and you can see not only above you, but down below into the river basin as well.
That's pretty amazing.
By the time we had made it to the pass between South Hatch Canyon and North Hatch Canyon, we were 8 hours into this trail and still only about 35 miles in. We had another 6 to go, but the views and the scenery around made it all completely worth it. We'd absolutely do it again. Just like always, the video doesn't do it justice. You can't tell it here, but this is pretty steep coming over the South Hatch side of the canyon. It's completely doable, even with the trailer. You just have to take your time and watch your lights. It's a pretty good drop off, and without the aid of a front camera or a spotter, you kind of lose the trail when you turn off to the left there. As we continued east on out the trail, we made our final descent on down toward the Flint Trail. As we done this, we passed the Gunsight Butte. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we had made our way to the east side of the Spider Canyon Trail. This is where it intersects with the Flint Trail. Now you can go left on the Flint Trail and go into the Canyonlands National Park, or you can turn right and go back towards Highway 95, which is what we did. The southern part of the Flint Trail is considered to be a through route because it connects to the Poison Springs Trail, while north of that is considered an out and back trail. It does connect to the trails in the Maze District of Canyonlands, but you have to have a permit to get through those. This area reminds me a lot of a couple different places, Monument Valley and also the southern end of the Lockhart Basin.
As we crossed the Colorado River on the Height Bridge, it was time to start setting our sights on finding camp. We followed Route 95 for a while before making our way through a box culvert and off into the desert again. Not too far off of this road, we found a really cool place to call camp for the night. The next morning, we didn't waste much time at all, packing camp up and getting ready to move on. You know, I don't think they see funnel clouds in Blanding, Utah very often, but when Coddiwomple comes to town, this is what we bring.
It's crazy. Wow.
After taking care of everything that we needed to in Blanding, we left the town and the funnel cloud in our rearview mirror. The plan now was to start making our way towards the mountains. This was not just going to be an easy drive. We ended up finding a few obstacles along the way.
Easy peasy.
It started becoming pretty obvious to us that the monsoon season that we were in the middle of had started leaving its mark on some of the runoff from the low-lying mountains just outside of Blanding. We knew we had one more creek crossing that we were going to have to try to get through. We knew that it could be a big one, but we weren't really prepared for what it was when we got there. There had definitely been quite a bit of water through here, and it created quite the shelf on the other side. So what I decided to do was unhook the trailer and use the truck to be able to knock down that steep edge on the other side. That way we could all get through without any problems. This was all soft sand, so it just took a couple times of running back and forth across it to be able to get everybody across. It was just a little bit of a process.
And there's no shame in getting winched, getting hooked up and getting winched out. To keep from tearing stuff up, it's safer just to winch out.
You got it. Keep it going. Oh. You're digging a hole.
After that, it was smooth sailing to the top of the mountains. We were now out of the scrub oaks and getting into the pines. Not only did we find the pines, but we also found a lot cooler temperatures. While making our way through this beautiful area, we stopped to chat with a forest ranger who gave us the lowdown on an incredible campsite right amongst the pines and the aspens.
She's got stinky feet.
So what are you gonna do about her stinky feet?
We're gonna O3 outdoors. Everybody's stinky shoes.
Febreze didn't help.
Yeah. And
But O3 is going to.
Lysol didn't help you. So anybody that's got stinky shoes, they're going in the bag. Anybody else need their stinky shoes in here?
Not my flip-flops.
Here comes Justin.
Justin just kicked his off.
This is the test right here, because these babies are nasty.
Well, I mean, some of these in this bag are already nasty.
I don't know about that.
Here, I'll come get them.
No, I'm coming over there. I just want to get that marker.
Yeah, we
This is the camp. Little E3, are we?
Yeah.
O3.
I like that.
O3.
Or O3? O3,
Yeah.
sorry. It's not long there.
Just laying down on me.
Look at them things. Them things has got.
I can tell you right now, this bag does stink.
Damn.
Oh gosh, they just went to.
You putting them things in my bag? I know.
Too late. They're there now.
We're gonna fix them all in just a second.
I brought my portable one down.
There goes my new chairs.
Yep.
See you in a half hour.
Well, we waited for the O3 ozone odor eliminator to do its magic. Everybody gathered around and fixed up a Mexican dinner for all of us to eat.
I don't know why someone would think it's okay to get out there in that water like that. Especially when you can't climb up. You can't climb up a lava rock. Record the whole time on my phone. I didn't realize that because you were videoing.
Yeah.
And then I never shut it off. And so you can hear the whole conversation, you can see the blood running down the legs. So that's another reason why that killed our snorkel.
This is how I
all of a sudden that turtle was
I-
up here. And it was my reaction to scream.
Yeah, this is my.
I have to go.
So I would like to make it known,
I
though,
jump out of the way, I'm like,
that today
I'm
is
running.
Saturday.
That's all I wanted.
We've
the
been
whole
out
trip was to
west
see
for,
one of those
what, Teddy, a week and a half?
Sure as shit, when that thing's like right here.
We're supposed- And
There's
we're
like a
with
shark, like you
Coddiwomple
said,
over
coming out of the dark.
And we have not
I saw were,
gotten
you know,
rained
they
on.
weren't super big. They were smaller.
There's must be some sort of special bubble that's going on here, or everybody's doing like the rain dance at home. I don't know what happened, but we've had amazing weather. Even tonight, when we pull up, it's dark everywhere around us. It's rumbling, you can hear thunder, but it's literally splitting before we get here. It's amazing. I cannot believe we haven't got some sort of rain on us. Now in the deserts, I probably would have welcomed that. You know what I mean?
Definitely. You changed dogs?
Well, I just kind of got attacked.
Attacked by a Cocker Spaniel?
Attacked by a Cocker Spaniel. Who will no longer let Aspen get up here.
No, we didn't want to get up.
Come here, Aspen. Here.
Aspen wants him to chase him.
Yeah.
Oh, he found Uncle Matt. Did you go to the cabin?
The next morning was even more beautiful than the day before. All those clouds that Justin were talking about that were surrounding us were all gone.
That's what he likes us doing at home too. Sounds like a bunch of horse races. It does.
This was a campsite that we definitely could have spent a couple days at. But Moab and that area was kind of calling our name. We only had a limited amount of time and we wanted to go spend some time down there. So off we went.
Well, good morning, campers. We had an epic campsite, and I don't use epic very often. We had an epic campsite last night here in the Beat National Park. It's beautiful weather right now. It's 65 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. So today we're going to continue our way out Elk Ridge and go down beyond Heath east, and then from there we're going to hit the famous off-road mecca of Moab. It's going to be another great day.
There you go, baby. There's at least three.
We continued our way northeast along the Elk Ridge, and as we made the turns into the switchbacks, we started to see the view down into the Beef Basin. With the towering red rocks all around, there's still a lot of greenery in the basin. Beef Basin, and its given name, was because there's been a lot of cattle in here over the centuries. But people have been using this basin for thousands and thousands of years, and you can see that evidence by some of the petroglyphs and ruins that you can find if you do a little searching through here. As we neared the end of Beef Basin Road, it was time to get back on Blacktop for a little bit, but not before making one more stop. Remember that looking around that I talked about? This one was a lot easier to find than most, and it was probably one of the most prominent and one of the most famous petroglyph sites in the whole area. We spent quite a bit of time looking at these petroglyphs and trying to figure out what the people from thousands of years ago may be trying to tell us. And after that, we were back on the road and looking for a campsite somewhere just outside of Moab. We were able to find a very nice campsite just east of Moab in the Manti La Sal National Forest. This is where we'd set up and get ready for our next day's adventure. This morning everybody had kind of slept in, but we didn't waste a whole lot of time other than that around camp. The plan was to make our way back down into Moab and check out some of the more popular trails around here that we could take a trailer on. The road that we used to come down into town brought us right by Fins and Things and Hell's Revenge. Those were really tempting to give a shot, but we decided to head on down and check out a couple other ones. We made it through the busy town of Moab and then set our sights on the Long Canyon Trail. This is one of the trails in the area that none of us had ever done, but we had always wanted to do. This was the perfect opportunity. Long Canyon is definitely a trail that we've been wanting to do for years. Once we got to the top, the natural progression was to make our way down the Schaefer Switchbacks. The Schaefer Switchbacks is a series of switchbacks on a trail that leads you from the Canyonlands Visitor Center on the top all the way down to Potash Road down into the canyon.
It is very meditating on the inside.
better cameraman than driver. She's a better driver than cameraman.
Along this trail, you can obviously tell there's some incredible scenery. But one of the other places you'll want to stop at is Thelma and Louise Point. We had to stop and check it out. It's not only a beautiful place to look at, it's an iconic place for a movie. While we were looking at this incredible scenery, we decided that we had to recreate the scene of Thelma and Louise going off the cliff. We relived a pretty cool movie from our past. If you haven't seen Thelma and Louise, you might ought to check it out. But after that, it was on down the Potash Road. that trail loop was one that we've wanted to do for a long time, and it was definitely worth making the trip up here to do it. We got into camp pretty late the next night, but that set us up for the trail that we wanted to do the next morning. Next morning, we hung around camp just a little bit longer. It was kind of a bittersweet day. Teddy and JoJo was going to be taking off and heading back east. Matt and Don had already left the day before, and Justin and Michelle were also going to be leaving and heading back east. That was definitely the bitter part, but the sweet part was we were going to get the opportunity to take Michelle and Justin on a trail that they had always wanted to do before they took off. We were going to be doing the Onion Creek Trail. So after we let Aspen and Ray burn off some morning energy, it was time to pack up, get ready, and start moving along the trail.
And then there was one. After we made it up the Onion Creek Trail, it was time for Justin and Michelle to start their way on toward Denver, where they had some business to take care of. Deb, Aspen, and I still had some exploring that we wanted to do, so we started making our way back south to see what our adventures could take us. One of the things that we had avoided the whole trip up until this point was smoke. Apparently there was a large forest fire somewhere around us. The first trail that we were going to hit was the continuation of the Onion Creek, and this is the Hideout Trail. This trail does get a little bit more difficult going up through here, and that's why a lot of people that are in two-wheel drive typically turn around at the top of Onion Creek and go back down. Obviously, that wasn't going to be the plan for us.
you're ever in this area, be sure and check out the places where you can see dinosaur tracks. It's truly amazing that these tracks are still here after who knows how many thousands of years. But I really think that I figured out why they became extinct. They weren't very smart. This one here just walked off a cliff. After figuring out the whole extinction thing with the dinosaurs, we decided to head south, try to find camp for the night before our next big adventure tomorrow. We ended up finding an incredible oasis at a reservoir just outside of Blanding, and this is where we would set up for the evening and just relax and get ready for tomorrow.
Photo bomb.
This morning we were up early again as we had a big day ahead of us. We were going to be going to Montezuma Canyon and then on into the Hovenweep National Monument. By this point it was just Deb, Aspen, and I, and we didn't take long at all in camp to get ready and start heading off for our next adventure. Within just a very short time of leaving camp, we were also leaving the Blacktop Road and making our way down into Montezuma. There's a huge amount of history associated with this canyon. It is known to have been inhabited since around 500 AD. There are all kinds of cliff dwellings, petroglyphs, and other ancient artifacts scattered throughout this beautiful canyon. Other than the pretty well maintained road that goes down through the middle of this canyon, not much has changed, and for the most part, it has remained relatively untouched. About midway through the canyon though, there are some private residents, but they've done a really incredible job at hiding their houses within the caves, just like the old cliff dwellers. One of the most interesting stops we made was the Coalbed Village. This is a large archaeological site that dates back to around 1200 AD and was inhabited by the Anasazi people. It was first discovered by William Henry Jackson in 1875. The site is covered in very large rubble mounds that are believed to be the remnants of a large village that was here around 1200 AD. Some of the most notable things about that large village was the monoliths. They're not sure if they were for a culture reason or part of a building.
After taking a step or two over 1,000 years back in time, it was time for us to continue our way on south. This was the roughest section of the whole road, and it wasn't rough at all, but I think if you were in something besides the four-wheel drive, you might drag here. It was obvious the water came through here and cut quite a berm. I'm sure that they fix this on a pretty regular basis. Not far off the road at all, we found this large grouping of cliff dwellings. We just had to get a closer look. I mean, could you imagine what it was like to live up there 1,000 years ago, or even 500 years ago? These are exactly the kind of things that we love to stop and check out. We could have spent all day right here. We still had a whole lot of other stuff to explore before the end of the day. The further south you get, the more petroglyphs you start running into. Now, these are really cool too, just like the cliff dwellings. But we had no idea just how cool the next thing that we were going to see was.
You've never been in nothing like this in your life. That was without a doubt one of the coolest places we've ever been and one of the coolest things we've ever done. We continued making our way on down the canyon, searching for every flat rock that we could try to see a petroglyph from, or every cave or overhang that we could try to find a rock dwelling. If you take your time and look closely, both of these things are everywhere. And then, occasionally, you'll run right through the valley full of cottonwoods, which is a whole nother color and looks like a whole nother area. But then you're right back out of the vegetation and looking back up on the hillsides for cliffs and cave dwellings. Some of them you're actually able to get pretty close to and really check out firsthand. As we made our way out of the south end of the canyon, we turned a little bit west and started making our way towards our next destination, and that was going to be the Hovenweep National Monument. The Hovenweep ruins were discovered in 1854 by a man by the name of William Huntington, who was on an expedition for Brigham Young. These ruins were already known by the Ute and Navajo guides who considered them haunted and urged Huntington to stay away. The Hovenweep, or Deserted Valley, as it was known in the Ute language, has been here for thousands of years. There have been people traveling and inhabiting this area for over 10,000 years, well before the Anasazi or Pueblo. The Palo Indians who camped along the mesa were as early as 8000 BC. This whole trip has been incredible. We've seen so much history and hung out with so many great friends. We are sad to see it end, but it's time for us to start making our way back across the east. We hope you've enjoyed this whole trip that we've had out west this year as much as we have. We've truly enjoyed it and enjoyed even more sharing it with you guys. If you've liked this and you'd like to see more of it, please subscribe to the channel. We're always traveling. And until next time, see ya.